Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Cask 529. I'm Brian.
And I'm Shona.
Tonight we're coming at you, and I have absolutely no idea what we're tasting.
You do not. I know exactly what we're tasting. Brian has absolutely no clue.
Zero. None.
So either he could be really mad at me at the end of this, or really find this quite informative.
It is bourbon.
Absolutely, it is bourbon.
Okay, we're good then.
So really tonight, I'm not going to say a whole lot. I might say, you know, what I'm tasting and stuff like that. But I want Brian to give his honest review on all three of these. And I want him to pick which one's his favorite, you know, line them up like we normally do when we're doing a blind. And once he is done, then I will reveal what we tasted, why we tasted it.
I'm scared.
And so let's get started.
Okay, so with that, it's off to number one.
I'm getting a little sweetness on the nose, a little oak, some char,
So,
not a whole lot of burn.
and like we've said repeatedly, I have no smeller.
Right.
But I do sense the heat in spices, and I'm not getting any of that.
Okay.
You say you smell sweet, and I get a sense that I know we've had before, so I do get what you're talking about. So, I'm going to say it's a lower proof
Okay.
because it's really good. I get maybe some caramel,
And pick that up.
definitely sweet, just a hint of spice.
On the finish.
Yep. Not really. When I say a hint of spice, there's some heat there, but it's like it's like on simmer. You haven't turned it up on high yet. So it's really pleasant on the palate. I would call that a good sipper
Okay.
if I knew what it was and I was wanting to just sit down and have a quick little pour. I like that.
Okay.
I've not had many I don't like, to be fair, though.
I've had a couple.
So, we'll move to number two.
Number two.
Again, I'm not really getting...
Oh, I was going right to tasting.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
You still have to play along, even if you're not going to talk.
I am talking.
I'm not getting any heat, again.
With this one, I am picking up more of the ethanol.
More so, are you?
A little bit, not picking up the sweetness that I picked up on number one.
No, I have it's a different sense than I had there, but it's not, to me, it's not the heat. Now, when it hits my palate, maybe it'll surprise me, but...
Definitely oakier.
Like, all I could get when it first hit my palate was brown sugar. It was almost like took a bite of a baked sweet potato or something like that.
I'm not getting it. I'm getting, this one's oakier to me. I don't know if you're picking that up. I do still get sweetness. Not much spice on this one.
I'm starting to get a little bit more heat sense on the nose, but it's very little. I mean, it's nothing that would scare me if I, and honestly, that first taste was, I don't know if it's because I don't have any idea what we're tasting. And so I'm really paying more attention. That may be one of the sweetest bourbons I've ever tasted.
Number 2.
Yeah. That is really, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's I would call it a dessert bourbon.
I didn't pick up all that sweetness that
You
you're
don't?
picking up.
Wow.
I'm getting it, but then it's followed through with a lot of oak for me.
Okay. And I don't get a lot of the oak, and usually the oak really stands out to me.
The
But
finish
again,
does have some spice to
I
it.
feel like if you know what you're tasting, even if you had 3 bottles sitting out here, I might not know which one was which, but I would be looking for certain things.
It's really hard on you?
And not having any idea what I'm tasting, it's rough.
Do you have a favorite between 1 and 2 at the moment?
I think it would depend on my mood. If it was evening, we just got done working in the shop or something, and we got cleaned up and sat down to watch maybe TV or just sat down to talk, I think I'd want 2.
Okay.
However, 1, if you were sitting around shooting the breeze with some friends, that was really good.
Yeah.
But let's see what number 3 says.
All right.
Honestly, if you poured either of them at any time and said, here, have this, I'd drink it.
Okay. This one I'm picking up sweetness. I'm getting some spice on this one when I'm nosing it.
I get a little bit of heat again.
Number 1 is definitely the sweetest on the nose for me.
What about on your palate? Was
Number 1.
one really?
Number 1 was sweeter than number 2 for me.
We'll have to see what the second time around does.
Sweetness, caramel, toffee. Actually, I'm picking up a little bit of toffee. Not the spice on the end of this one, more of a toffee. Yep, definitely toffee.
So I do get sweetness. I get almost like a sweet tart though.
I can see that. And then
On
the
that
initial.
one. On that one, yeah.
Yep.
Again, it's really good. I feel like this is some sort of a setup. Getting ready to do me dirty on these or something.
This one has a nice finish. I was going to almost say that number 1 was my first pick, but number 3 is finishing nice.
You know, I don't know, I'm going to go back through them again. But I think it's going to be really simple for me to put these in order. From favorite to least. Least favorite's not really a fair term.
Do you feel they're all, I mean, I will share with you, these are all the same, pretty much the same proof point.
Did they all come out of the same bottle?
They did not. Do you feel like they did?
No, they're very similar. They're all very similar, I think.
I think they all have different traits
But
though.
there's different qualities to them. Like the sweet tart I got in 3, I didn't get that in any of the others. The brown sugar I got in 2, I didn't get that in 1. 1 was, I'm going to go back through and do them again, but if I had to pick which one was warmest, which none of them were hot, I would say 1 was warmest. I would say they were all low proof points, but the flip side of that is we have some higher proof point bourbons that drink very low proof.
We do, yes. Yep.
Rare Breed, for example.
Yeah, it's good.
I think that's what, 114? Somewhere right close to that.
116.
116, and it really drinks closer to a 90, I think.
Yeah, it's smooth. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. As long as I'm holding that on my palate, I've got sweet notes.
I'm picking up some cherry this time in there.
I got cherry, but as soon as I swallow it, that's when I got the spice.
The spice. Mm-hmm.
But on my palate, if I was holding it there, it was all sweet.
Yeah.
It's really.
See, and that's why this one to me so far has been the sweetest. Even on the nose, it's the sweetest.
It's going to be unfair to put any of them in 3rd place. For me. I still get that really strong brown sugar. Very little spice.
I can sense your brown sugar, but the oak to me is heavier. So I like had to search for the brown sugar because the oak is prominent on my palate.
And I'm kind of the opposite. I have to look for the oak, and the brown sugar is just, I mean, not that you would, but it's like you stuck a spoon in the bag of brown sugar and put it in your mouth.
Right.
This is going to be hard to put any of them in 1st place. Only because it's hard to put one in last.
I guess instead of putting one in last, if you were going and doing a barrel pick,
Oh,
which glass would you say this is the barrel I'm buying?
wow, that's hard. Today, I think I would, if that's where we were, if that's what we just did was tasted for a barrel pick, I think I would pick 3.
You would pick 3?
Yeah, I do. And honestly, if I put these in order, mine would go 3, 2, 1. It's really not fair though, because they're all good to me.
Where I would do 1, 3, 2. So we would have a fight on our hands if we were picking a barrel.
Yeah, we would. But I could adapt to that. I mean, because I like them all. Mm-hmm. One would definitely not be 1 for me.
It is for me. I like that sweetness. I really, to me, that's more enjoyable.
Well, I like sweet too, but I didn't get.
But you felt number 2 was sweet.
Yeah, I didn't get the sweetness out of 1 that I got out of the other 2.
Yep. But I feel they're all very distinct.
For me, the thing that got me was the sweet tart on 3.
You like that?
I like that sweet tart flavor.
Okay.
It's not sweet, it's not sour, it's just kind of a happy
Yep, I see that.
in between.
So are you ready for me to
I don't know.
reveal
I guess I
anything?
am.
All right, so 2 days ago, you and I did a tasting of Blanton's and 3 of the 4 roses,
Yep.
where I picked the 4 roses single barrel as my favorite. And on that show, we had a comment. And I feel that you misread the comment. And so I almost went and said, honey, I think you misread that comment. But instead, I decided, no, we're going to make a show of this. Because one of our followers, subscribers, commented that he wanted us to do this. So thank you, Cooper Coach Works. Because Cooper wrote, good blind folks, I've actually never had any of those 4 roses. Definitely a hole in my bourbon pilgrimage. Between the 2 of you, it does seem like a single barrel is probably the way to go when I pull the trigger. I would be kind of interested to see you blind 3 different Blantons. How much difference is there from one batch to the other?
So these are all Blantons.
On the show, we told our viewers we had all 8 bottles of Blanton's. And so I'm sure Cooper picked that up thinking, oh, they have 8. They're single barrels. Let's see if there's any difference in them. So I got 3. I made sure they're all different barrels.
Wow, they
Different
really
times.
are. They really are different.
And they're all neck pours. I cracked the seal on all of these tonight. And this is why I said Bryan could be mad at me, because I opened 3 brand new bottles of Blanton's. So number 1 was barrel number 40. Okay, so the first one we tasted was dumped on January 26th of 23, and it was stored in warehouse H.
And all Blanton's is in stored in warehouse H. Just, that's a fact. I just let you know
Yep,
that.
it is. Just making sure. Just making sure. Individually selected, filtered, and bottled by hand at 93 proof. From barrel number 40 on rick number 8. So,
Was that our number 1?
that was number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 was dumped on April 27th, 2023. Warehouse H, bottled at 93 proof, from barrel number 435, rick number 5. So this is the one that you said you had brown sugar and all that, and I was saying it was more oaky. Number 3 was dumped on November 7th of 22 at 93 proof from barrel number 3613 on rick number 24. So that is your favorite. That's your sweet tart one. So what I can tell you from me tasting these, and I knew what we were tasting, all 3 of them had distinct flavors. I could definitely tell they were all proofed the same, around the same. They all were similar, but they all were different. They all had distinct.
So here's interesting things to me. We're not huge Blanton's fans.
But these were all good.
These were all phenomenal, really. They all had their own characteristics. I would not have believed that there'd have been, each one would have been that unique. There's no way I would have believed that. But I've seen it, I've tasted it.
And this, when I read that comment, I'm like, oh, we have what we need to do this. I want to do it because I too, like, oh, let's see. Because this is, from my understanding, we've never done a barrel pick. But from my understanding, this is like going and doing a barrel pick
Yeah.
These
kinda,
are
yeah.
single barrels, and this is what you would pick.
That's how I understand it. You sample from different barrels and you pick the barrel you like.
Yeah, so anyways, it was pretty cool that we had these. Just trying to get the horses lined up. Drive me nuts as I'm looking at them.
That's a really good blind. I'd have never thought of doing that.
So you're not mad at me for opening all 3 bottles?
We just have to drink more now.
Well, I wanted to make sure, because I know we have one open, but I wanted to make sure they were all neck pours because I felt that was... To be fair, these were all opened at the same exact time, so...
And that's the other thing is, you know, who knows what they may taste like in a couple weeks. But as neck pours, they were really good. But again, you didn't know they were neck pours.
Right.
But
you didn't know they were neck pours.
Right, I didn't know they were neck pours.
Right. So you're not mad at me?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good. Ah, I mean, we weren't giving them away
You
anyway,
just have
so
to go stand in line early in the morning to get more with me.
we have what we need. We do not need to stand in line early.
Do you ever really have what you need?
Yes.
I don't.
We may not have what we want, but we have what we need. All right, so Cooper, if you're watching, thank you for that comment. I hope that I understood what you were wanting to see. I understand where Bryan was coming from because we only have this one single barrel Blantons. We don't have like the gold or the other ones.
Yeah, we don't have any of the others.
This is the only one we've ever had our hands on. But anyways, even if it wasn't what you meant by it, I got this idea from you, so thank you.
Yeah, if this was the wrong direction, it was still a great test.
Yep.
I guess.
All right.
So guys, if you like what you're seeing, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment. All those things just help the channel out, and hopefully we can keep this thing growing. And just an update. The basement, the bar, everything is speeding right along.
Yep.
Maybe next weekend we'll have a good update to show.
Yep.
But I think that's all you've got.
That's all I have.
Okay.
So thank you.
So until next time, thanks for joining us everybody and have a great evening.